It's an amazing thing to see. The latest, greatest ride at the Walt Disney World Resort, well, it doesn't work. And we're not sure it ever will, at least not without a huge amount of money and time spent fixing what should have been done in the first place. Tiana's Bayou adventure going through 5 days straight of being unable to open when the rest of the park does. Today, we'll tell you why this attraction is continuing to fall apart and why Disneyland fans should be very worried. Hello folks, welcome back to the place where we are happy. Nobody's been this happy since Danny Kaye danced with Bing Crosby, and we hope you get the reference. That's right, we're talking to you, Vacation. All right, folks, to the nation, we are now bringing you the latest news when it comes to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Walt Disney World Resort suffering greatly as the most popular attraction in the world destroyed to give us something that simply does not work. They cannot keep it open. We've talked about the millions of dollars that will have to be poured in to fix this thing, and is beginning to call into question the ability of Imagineers to do anything when it comes to adding on. Epcot, by the way, all that work they did over at Epcot, still not functioning, still not working. There has been something that's happened, apparently, behind the scenes at Disney, and that is they seem to have fired everybody who knew what they were doing and hired a bunch of people who don't. We'll tell you now, folks, though, about what's going on with Tiana's and why this might be the beginning of a very bad situation going forward for Disney. And, well, not going to be good. Not going to be good if they destroy so much of Disney to put in all kinds of brand new stuff. I can't wait for Cars Land to not work whatsoever. That will be just a wonderful thing, won't it? Let's bring on the panel right now. All right, folks. Well, here's what we've seen. It's Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It still does not work. Let's talk about this because, as you just saw, they're planning to change over all of Frontierland, transform it into something entirely different. They're going to give us a Villains Land and all of that. But it turns out that reskinning the ride is just too hard for them. This is from @OllieDisney. It says, if this trend continues and they cheap out on Cars and Villains Land as well, then half of the Magic Kingdom could be down almost half of the time. And this is what Mickey Central has posted. The ride formerly known as Splash Mountain is down for the 5th day in a row.
Wow.
Gentlemen, I am hearing that Tiana's Bayou Adventure has not been able to open at the normal park opening time now 5 days. In addition to other times that it's down, not been open at the beginning, which throws everything for a loop in terms of those virtual queues, because Tiana's uses a virtual queue, so you can't just go get in line. You got to tap on your phone, right? Well, if it doesn't open at the park opening, it screws up all of the virtual queue scheduling for the rest of the day. Ron, you've been over the parks. What's been your perception of what's going on with Tiana's?
100% the truth. I actually had that very issue myself. Went to the Blue Umbrella people, the guest service people, to ask what happened.
You make it sound more like a cult than it already is, Ron. Blue Umbrella people.
The Blue Umbrella people, yes. And this is exactly what they told me. Well, it looks like because it was down most of the morning, they may have only dropped 1 to 5 new groups at the 1 o'clock drop. So if you're in the park and you think you're going to get a virtual queue at 1 o'clock and they only have 2 or 3 or 4 more groups to drop, if that, or there are some times when they don't even drop at 1 o'clock and they say, and they, like, you go to the app and it will say some type of a sorry folks or something, but there will be no virtual queue drop at 1 o'clock. I mean, it's an absolute mess, but they're also using the virtual queue to hide just how bad this is, because if you're thinking, oh, well, I didn't get a virtual queue, darn, I'll go get one from Tron or whatever, that means that you're not going to try to get in line at all, and you're going to ignore the ride, and they are hoping guests will ignore the fact that they can't ride this because they didn't get a virtual queue, which even if they had, they would not be able to ride. I know Marvin's had trouble with it. Have you ever gotten on the ride?
No, I have still not been on this ride. I never even made it into the queue. I have not gotten past the sign that says Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The Critic Co-op is the closest thing I have gotten to this ride every single time I try. The last time we got there and the ride was running when we got there, they called our boarding group. We walked up there, and as we're walking up, I look over and I see all the logs piled up one behind the other, and all these poor people baking in the sun. And I was like, oh no. So we go up, we try to get on the ride. We're told it's down. We go back over. We buy some beignets, which I thought were going to be great, but apparently were absolutely disgusting. They were just doused in honey and hollow. But I've been told, by the way, I was shouted at after saying it on Pro's channel the other day that some beignets are hollow. Okay, so
there's nothing worse than hollow beignets and stopped up logs. I'll just tell you.
But then after that, we went back to look, and I see the logs are still there, but the people are not. So they evacuated everythady.
I thought hollow beignet was a character from Country Bear that they took out because it encouraged bad foodism.
Overeaters Anonymous.
Oh my
God!
God!
Let me show you guys this real quick.
That's the entire intention of that ride, is to sell beignets, because food and merch is where they make their money. The merch doesn't seem to be doing so hot right now. I'm not seeing a lot of people bragging about the merch. So if they can't sell beignets, which should be good regardless of the ride, and they're pumping the beignet smell into the queue, or at least they were supposed to be doing that, the beignets need to be pretty solid here.
So I want to show this to everybody because we've been talking about the desecration, the destruction of Disney. We know that the stock is down. We know that D23 did nothing to improve the stock's positioning. Don't know what's going to happen with the stock, but we know that it's heavily influenced by the parks. So let me show you how bad the parks are right now. And this is Disney World. We go to this website quite often. It's thrillldata.com. So if you're wondering what kind of an effect does a brand new attraction not being able to run and replacing the most popular attraction at the resort with one that doesn't run, what does it do? Well, take a look at this. These are the wait times. They're highly correlated with the actual crowd levels. And if we take a look at the first week of August through what we are at currently, August 13th, we're not quite at halfway through the August month, and we're at a wait time of 31 minutes. Okay? Now, that is 1 minute better than July, which I have never seen in August outperform July, because the kids are going back to school. Now, it just so happens that in Florida, the kids are going back to school this week, and all across the nation, kids are going back to school, and those summer vacays are ending. The reason I bring that up is because it's the second half of August when Disney truly turns into a ghost town. So if you're curious how bad this is going to get, remember that July of 2023 was a 36-minute wait, and if we go here, July of 2022 was a 41-minute wait, and this has catastrophically dropped to 30 minutes, about as good as a September in 2023, September being the deadest month of the entire year. When this August drops, which it will in the second half, because again, kids will go back to school, right now it's 1 minute above what was the worst since normal operations at Disney, okay? So if you go back all the way, you got to go all the way back to 2021 when operations were different and capacities were controlled and all of that. July was the worst. This August appears in the second half to set a new record. And August is likely to become the worst month period since Disney went back to normal operations. Because again, it will be a ghost town in the second half. So if you wonder, Pro, does this really even matter? Do people even care? We're over Tiana's. People are done with that. Oh, it matters. This is now looking like, and I can't even tell you what September will look like this year. Because again, September is the most sparse month of the year. I can't even imagine how few people are going to be at Disney. If you ever wanted to go to Disney and just see what it looks like to have nobody else with you, go in September of this year. And it's stuff like this with Tiana's that's going to make that happen.
Yeah, that's the only saving grace that they have is the Halloween party, which is busier. And Lorena, I know she's not on the show now, but she saw it before herself. The limited capacity ticket sales Halloween party is busier than the normal operations.
And that's filled with locals, right? Who they want to get their kids in to see. Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy.
Folks, we've come to the end, but we must say farewell for only a short period of time because we'll be back with 3 new videos. 3 videos every single day because Thrice is nice right here on the Pro Channel. We hope you enjoyed your time. If you did, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.